All right, I've been asked to do a ClassDojo presentation. I know some of y'all may already know how to do this, but hopefully I may help some of you figure more out than what you used to know. This is their website. You can use the website or you can use the app. I will often use the website on my my computer and the app on my phone or my tablet. Logging in is pretty simple, and creating your account is actually really easy. You would basically click on Teacher. If you don't have an account already, you'll go through the steps to actually create an account. Like this, you got to do your email address, and it will verify who you are, and you got to create the password. And once you come back, it's a little bit different. Up here in the top right, it says Log In. That's it. Where you go, hit Teacher. Do your password, which I'll do right now. Save the password. All right, so I'm in. Now, I've already closed my class from last year, which is something that happens at the end of the year. But right now I do have Miss Carlos and Miss Dell's class in here, and I should be able to look at that and do most of what we're going to do. But there's a whole bunch of different parts in here that we will go over. Won't take too long. It's pretty self-explanatory. Let's say I wanted to go back into her class, and I'm still using that. Okay, here we go. And look at her class. Right here are her students, and that she had this past year. And you can actually see that the last week, the whole class had 233 positive. You can look on here, you can see that Kishan had 34 positive. That's the most out of the class. And Nalea right behind him, doing great. And then you had a few that weren't doing so well, maybe because they weren't there. Maybe Zach wasn't there, but he wasn't at the end of the year. Zanaya probably wasn't there at the end. But you can look on here and see real easily how students in the class have been doing. Now, if you click on one of them right here, like Kayshawn, you can see all the different possible rewards that he could get and what he did get. He worked hard one time. He got caught working really hard a couple times. That's awesome. And then over here would be the ones that are not so good. We will go over adding these in here in a little bit. But they're really not that hard. Over here, invite sent. That has to do with the parent's notification. And we will go over that too. And if they don't join the class, you can hit resend the invite. Pardon my dog in the background. I think I just got a package delivered. Now, as far as groups, you can actually create groups. If you have like 5 people that are about the same reading level, and you're going to be working with them and a guided reading, you can create a group of those 5, and that way all you have to do is give that group reward for doing well, or an individual. Now, what else can we see here? As far as your students go, it's easy to add them. It's easy to get rid of them. That will all come in later. Sorry, messages. Here's the other one I really want to get to. If I send a message to Nalea, his mom, Ashley, I would go here, and that's where I would type. That is just from me to her, okay? You can also do a class announcement by clicking on the class announcement. That goes to all the parents that are connected. If we go to the side here, part of this does look weird because we haven't really started the new school year yet. We're getting into it. But there's already been an announcement sent out that August 8th from 4:30 to 6, we are having the back to school bash. The parents see this just like we do. This is all public stuff. Wednesday will be the 16th will be the first day of school for students. You can post something on here right now, like there was a fundraising event July 17th. Ashley was able to put something on there. Great. You can see how many people saw it. It wasn't very active. There's only 3 people saw it. During the summer, most people turn their notification off for ClassDojo. Makes sense. Kids aren't in school. But I could post something right now if I want. I could upload a video. I could attach a file. I could record something live when they're at a field day or something like that. That would be great. I could also put an event on a calendar day where they can see it coming. Over here, we got school calendar. We can see right now we've got August 8th, we got the back to school bash, August 16th. These are all excellent things to put on there for parents to see easily, especially if we are actively talking with the parents through the app, which will be using the messenger, which we'll get there in a moment. Staff messaging. We can actually put a message out to all the other people at the school easily right here. Go in there if you're going to be late. If, for instance, I have a doctor's appointment one day and I need to leave at 3 so I can be there at 3:30, I can just remind her, hey, I'm going to be out at 3:30. Please understand that I will not be there. Don't send by to me, whatever. Okay. Up here on the settings, if your kids maybe your own kids use ClassDojo, you can actually go through and change, adjust that up here. We also have the school settings. Now, this right here is where the parents and teachers get to make comments. Now, personally, I don't like it if parents can make comments on some of the stuff because it may not always be appropriate. But if they do post stuff that's not appropriate, they can be reported and it can be blocked. This will be up to coach as to whether or not she wants the parents to be able to make comments on stuff. School directory. This shows all the teachers and their role, okay, as teachers. Some of these, the emails did not work. Like this was my old email. I actually changed to this one. And it still shows up in there. And I believe I can delete what's in here pretty easily. But let's see, it looks like Miss Norwood needs to get in there. Unless she's already done it in a different place. No, I don't see her. All right. And these are the invited people that have not added. What else? Students. All right. These are all of the 336 students that have been put into our school with their contact phone numbers and emails if they were put in. It's very difficult to actually message a parent if they don't connect, but not all of them are in there appropriately, I guess you would say. But it's really easy. You get the phone number, make sure it works, call that parent, say, hey, just make sure your phone number is good. Is this a good number to send you a text message? Because some of them might still have a landline, or it might be a work number, which is not the best one, obviously. But we want this to be a number that goes to their phone. It could also be the email, so they get an email alert. That works also. This is something that is easily adjusted when we get new students. It only takes just a moment. If I'm creating a new class, which I'll go through in a few minutes, I'm just going to hit this button over here. I'm going to add my 23-24 school year and make a new class. I will do that once I get a list of my new students. School-wide center. This honestly, I think, is a new button for me. I haven't seen it before. But this will have, let's see, directory. This tells you how to actually go through and set up, get rid of old teachers and students, add new ones, add student families, and how to create classes, right? So it looks like remove from the school, pretty simple. Archive the class. That actually happens at the very end. I did that about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I actually archived my class. Otherwise, I'd be able to show you a little bit easier what would happen in my class. This is where you add the new teachers and staff. Actually, this is a lot easier than what it used to be. So that's good. There's nothing complicated about ClassDojo that I have found. The hardest thing actually sometimes is just figuring out how to do a few different things. But there's a lot of tutorials if you don't know how to do it. Like I actually went, it wasn't until not that long ago that I learned that after you make a comment, if you give a point and you only have like 30 seconds to actually give a student, not 30 seconds, you have like 5 seconds. A little thing comes up, why did they get the point? Or why did you take the point? If you don't do it then, you can actually go into the reports, pull up the student, and adjust that. So let me go back. Okay, the school directory. So what else we got here? All right, these are all the classes. So let's say I'm going to go ahead and create my new class. Class name. 4th grade 23-24. Right? And I'm going to make that a 4th grade class. I'm going to hit create. Now, as far as people who see it, I'm honestly going to add all the staff. I think that would be the most appropriate way for us to do it. This is up to debate, and we can talk about it afterwards. But if we all, while we're walking down the hallway, you see a student helping a kid out, or you down the playground and you hear somebody helping somebody get through problems and they're not in your class, if you're all part of the class, you can easily go, oh, that's awesome, right? And you can actually add, give them dojo points. The same also happens if they're bullying somebody. They're being mean. You can take away points. I personally use ClassDojo, and this could be changed if coach is not on board with it, but I see it as a way to actually track a student's behavior. If we do a good job, like let's say I add, I Miss Flowers, right? And I add Miss Garcia, and then Miss Carlos, Miss Bummer, right? So I'm getting everybody as part of the school. Miss Norwood. I already got one. Let's see, Miss Carlos, already got her. Miss Dell, I got her. What am I missing? Dr. Knight. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Oh, actually, we have a couple new teachers that I don't have. And then, of course, Coach, right? So I now had them. You're going to get an invite right now. That's when I was recording this, when you got this invite. All right. So down here in the bottom, you got a monthly mission and mentor community. Those are useful, and we can go through those in a few minutes. But so far, I've already created a class. Now, all I would have to do is add students. It's very simple. First and last name. And then you're going to, the next part, I'm going to add my son. Just because he's not in the school and I can take him off pretty easily. So I'm going to add Declan Furby, right? And that's it, right? So he's been added, and I can delete it. And I'm going to hit save. Why not? Now, this is the cool part. You can print invites for all the families, okay? Each one will have, tell them how to go to ClassDojo, how to, the code they need to enter, and anything else they need to do, right? I did that last year. I printed them out, sent them all home, and about half the students' parents actually did what it said to do. Worked out okay. Some of them didn't. You can also create a link and share it through their messages, the number that you have. They click on that, they go into Dojo, they create an account. Very simple, right? So right here, I put my phone number or email. And just like that, I would get an email or message on my phone that's saying, hey, you're going to join Declan Furby's ClassDojo. Now, ClassDojo is pretty cool. You can actually set it up with the parents to where the parents can actually give dojo points from their end. They can use it like a reward system at home. Now, let's stick a little more to what's in the ClassDojo. Now, Declan here. Declan, if he actually was doing well, everything's great. He's in class, he's working like he's supposed to. Some of these get real close to each other, and so I honestly end up using some more than others. Like participating and on task, they're really close to the same thing. But if he's was hard at work on what he's supposed to be doing, great, boom, give him an on task, right? And I'm gonna do that now. He's on task. Now, if I click on it real quick, see it's gone now. He's got a point. Now, let's say I click on Declan. and he wasn't doing so well, right? I don't have any in here that are not good. Watch this. Add skills. Needs work. Right? I'm going to add a skill. Off task. There we go. That's worth taking a point. Now he's goofing off, right? Not doing what he's supposed to be doing, right? Now that's on there. But there's a part right below this that matters a lot. And this one right here is going to be something that coach is going to have to make the call on. Do we want the parents to see the positive points, the positive and negative points, or not being able to see the points at all? They get alerts. They get dojo points. The ClassDojo will go ding if they got it turned on. And they can look at it. And if they get a negative dojo, they can see that also. If you get all points, parents see positive and negative, which works out really well, in my opinion. Parents, I've had parents show up at the school at 9 o'clock in the morning, pull their child out of class, have a conversation with them because they've already lost like 3 or 4 points, and it's only 9 o'clock in the morning. And they're getting notifications, and they show up and they straighten out their child. They're doing what a parent should be doing. But I also know that this sort of interferes in some ways with how we're communicating with the parent, especially if you're not doing a lot of positive points to compensate for that. I've learned over a few years, I have real honest conversation with parents at the beginning. I tell them the truth. I said, when your student's on, I try to get points as often as I can. If your student goes yelling, screaming down the hallway, he's going to lose the point. You're going to get a notification. Okay. You actually have a minute to, there's a point in there where you can actually make a comment on it after you do a negative about why they lost a point. I try to use that as often as possible, but there's also a way you can actually go in, and I'm going to take away a point for my son here in a minute, and see it, try to show you what I mean, where you can actually add a comment later. So if you're busy, everything's going a little crazy, you're trying to get whatever, but you're also trying to like keep track of this, you might not get a chance to put the comment right then. But later in the reports, there actually is a way to click on it, click on the thing and make a note about what happened that he lost points. But in the reports, which I'm going to, let's see here. I'm going to close this, right? Needs work right here. He's off task right here, right? And add note right there. And the app, it looks a little different. The app, it has a little pop-up just like this after you do it. Add note. There. True. He's goofing off and he's distracted in the class, okay? It's not saying bad things about the student. I do not say bad things about student. I say what I see or hear, right? It's not appropriate ever, in my opinion, to call a student, bad words or anything negative like that. And that, that's pretty obvious. But if he's goofing off and he's distracted in class when we're trying to take a test, and this is during a test, right? I want to keep track of that. I want to know how often my students are doing that, right? All students are going to have problems. Boom. They just sent a message along with that negative dojo that he was goofing off. And even though I'm not actually connected to the account right now as far as that goes, but it would send the message. What else? Now, let's say another part right here. This is later. This is going to be pop-ups. It happens in the beginning, right? What's the next part here? Let's say I want to go to my reports. This is awesome. Hit the reports right here, right? This is Declan. That's the only person in my class right now. He's got 1 positive, 1 negative. You can actually, let's see over here, positive right here. I can actually remove it. And what else was the other thing here? If I don't have enough on here to really show you much, but you can actually see over time that one student is always on task, whatever, this and that. And every once in a while, they're yelling, screaming in the hallway. Okay. Maybe they're at a 90% positive. 90% positive in my book, that's an A student. All right. They goof up every once in a while and they make mistakes. And I keep track of that too. Even the best students, they do mess up, which is one of the reasons I'm very clear with the parents. I'm going to keep track of it all. What we're looking for in my classroom is to have a passing grade behavior-wise. I think of it just like regular grades. 70 plus in a classroom, that means most of the time we're able to actually have class. 60 to 70, that's a D, that's a borderline. You're not really doing that well. That's the conversations I have with the parents with behavior. Once you start getting below 60% positive, you start getting into, you're losing a whole lot of class time because of that student. Or he's creating situations in the school that we do not think are acceptable. Yelling, running down the hallway, yelling and screaming because, whatever, for no real reason. If there's a fire, one thing, but if somebody farted, sorry, that's not a reason to go yelling and screaming down the hallway. Keep track of it. It's not when it's not appropriate. I like to keep track of it. Now, I print this report. I can view the spreadsheet, which, let's see, I'll just view it right now, but you can download it. Declan got one on task and one off task, right? So he's 50% positive. Well, what I did last year that actually worked really well for most of the class. The parents got to have a lot of buy-in, and I had a few parents last year that did not. If they were 60 to 70, actually, all the students, we get this printed out. I sort it by student. I send it out every week. They got to see how their student did. And if they were 60 to 70%, I would make a note on there that they need to really work with their student on what they were doing wrong about being off task. 50% actually, anything below 60%, the parents knew that they had to actually sign and send it back to me. Otherwise, I was calling up, talking to them about it, that they were working with their student on getting their score up in ClassDojo. After they had 3 weeks in a row below 60%, we had a parent-teacher conference, which actually worked out pretty well. This year, I'm going to continue to do the same thing. It's awesome being able to tell parents that their student is doing great and look how well they're doing. But it's also really, really useful to let them, to show them the reason their student is getting in trouble. Because it gets, in the negative part, I broke it down. Like bullying, cursing, not when they kicked something and they, said a little word or something like that because it hurt, but when they were actually saying, actual negative comments about people. Let's see what else. Anytime I try to come up with the stuff, poor hallway. That was a lot of mine last year. The kids would just go jump into other classrooms, whatever, walking down the hallway. No, I can't do that. I take points away. I do that. It's like, it's distracting another class. That was one of my points I would take off. I don't know if I want to come up with a school-wide, but if you go into my classroom this year, you should be able to see something that'll cover most situations, which I think are mostly defined by our school rule books and by the culture that we want to create. I mean, being nice to other kids should be worth a lot of points. And actually, I did not go over that part. Let me go back. When you go, let's see here. Go here, Declan. I'm going to add a skill, okay? Let's say, what else? Helping others. Let's see right here. Being a hero, right? Say they're being a hero. To me, that's a 3-pointer. What's being a hero? Somebody forgot something and they go and they pick it up and they bring it to them. It's like being nice without anybody needing to ask them to do something. If I ask somebody, hey, can you go pick up that paper? That's not being a hero. But if they're really doing something nice, that helps somebody. If Coach walking down the hallway and she drops a piece of paper, one of my students went right over there, picked it up, handed it to her. Coach, here's your paper. All right, being a hero. Love it. Thank you. Take care of people. We could have school-wide ones, or individual ones. That's up to coach. It doesn't take long to actually add them. Just come up with a list we're going to add. But the positive and the negative does give you a lot of ammunition with the parents of students that are walk the line behavior-wise. Okay. Let's see. Teachers, we already went over this. Add co-teachers, got it. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else in here to. What's in here? Settings. All right. See this right here. Enable comments. I don't want students doing it. Now, there is a way for the students to actually log on to their account from home. When they log on, they can actually change their person up here. They actually can do it from the Chromebooks. If you want to, at one point, let your students pick their own little person, they can pick all these different ones. It's easy to do. You can print, when you print that out, that shows them how to log on. What else are we missing here? Oh, there are several tools they do provide. Sorry if I'm jumping around a lot. The stuff they do, you can actually add it to a portfolio. I don't have any set up right now to really show you, but it's not that hard to figure out when you go through it. Something in here. What else am I going to do? Okay, so finish class. This is what you do at the end of the year. You get a new student, you edit class, view reports, invite families, okay? That would be where you can go in there, you can print out the link or actually print out the printout itself. What else did I not mention? Oh, they have a bunch of resources for social emotional learning. I haven't used it in a minute. Let me see if I can find it. All right, this is where you can go in and actually find out a lot about ClassDojo. If you click on using Facebook, okay, go back. My Facebook. ClassDojo. All right, let me find the mentor resources. Give me a second. Teacher resources. There we go. Down at the bottom. It hides a little bit. All right. Here's some stuff that'll cover a lot of stuff that I didn't cover or didn't cover that well. There's a whole bunch of tutorials for teachers. Okay. If you don't think you understood it well enough, go in and click on those. But there is, and this has been a minute. Oh, resources. Since I've done this, you can go in here and they have like videos that you can do to the class about dealing with stress or dealing with they got coloring sheets. They do have decorations for the student monsters, stuff like that, which would be sort of cool. And they actually have a, let me find it. I'm going to find it in a minute. I might even pause the video and add this back in because it looks a little different than what I had in here. But they have these social emotional learning deals to help students. Okay. Customize skill, watch video, customize avatar. Yeah, I may edit this part out. I'm sorry for this part because it looks different from what it used to. Let me see here. Go back to the beginning. But these videos are actually pretty cool to play the class. They're usually right here. Now, why is it not right here though? There we go. Big ideas. That took me a minute. Okay. Sorry, this part, I don't know if I'll leave it or not. Video is probably getting a little long right now anyway. But let's say perseverance. You want to go over that with your class. There, you can get in here and actually play a video. Katie discovers the dip, which I love the dip. I think I had a poster in the hallway last year about the dip, about the learning part, right? There's an activity. There's actually a discussion guide afterwards. But then there's other videos go along with it. Okay, I'm going to use these. This will be definitely part of my first couple of weeks of working with students on how to handle stress, how to handle when things get tough. Work with them. They're actually very easy to navigate as soon as you find them, and very useful. The kids think they're sort of cute. And they open up good conversation with the students. Positive thinking, big challenges, right? Respect's a big one. I did that. That was definitely one of my major ones last year. But for the most part, you will be able to find all kinds of stuff on ClassDojo. There's lots of ways to use it. I think the one thing I feel like I really didn't explain too well is, let me go back to ClassDojo. When you hit, go back to the beginning. No. There we go. By the way, let me say this part. The app and the website have a little bit different usage. The app is actually very streamlined, very simple. I do most of the real work, the reports, that kind of stuff on the PC. It works so much better. Okay, but that's reports. That was one of the big ones. So view reports. Now, this is just Declan. You can actually print this report right here, and it'll show all the points and whatever. And you can do it for a time period, which I did not show you the time period part. Let's see here. There it is, right here. This button. This week. If you do like a 5-day time period, this week would only be Monday through Friday. But let's say you're wanting to send this home on Friday. Maybe you do Friday through Thursday. You can change that. You can do the actual date, right here, custom date range. That's very useful. It'll print out. Unless they let us use the color printer for this, which I don't think they will. It means it's going to be black and white, but you can actually see there's still a positive and negative part. Black and white doesn't look near as well, but that part, it would be a lot of paper and probably a lot of ink to do all of it, though it might really be important. It might be worth printing it in color for the ones that are really doing really poorly, like Declan here. This is, if he had a bunch of points and we were about 50%, that means that he's done some good stuff, but he's done a lot that wasn't so good. Parents need to know this. Parents need to realize it. They need to see that, because that is partially their job, to help their student understand the importance of school, at least in my opinion. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really matters that I didn't cover. I actually think, except for my one little part down, attendance. Okay, attendance. My attendance last year was mostly done. I could find out when students were there by the attendance button. When they come in the morning, are they here, right? Yes, they're here. Mark all present, mark all absent. There's only one. But if everybody's there, mark all present. But if you just go through and do your attendance on this immediately, then when they come in late, you can actually change them to late. If they leave early, you can change it to leave early. If they're not there, you can change it to they're not there. Yellow means late, and that means they left early. So there's different ways to do that, but I would use that to do my attendance in the computer. And like last year, I'm only saying last year because my situation was we were doing attendance due at a certain time, and they were in the gym at that time. So I was actually doing my attendance with Dojo immediately and doing the attendance through Power School immediately before we even left to go to class. Students come in, afterwards they were marked late. And I actually had a better record of that in my phone than that Power School did. But that pretty much wraps up what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to delete Declan from my class. I'm going to edit my class here. Let's see. Class option. Edit class. I'm going to remove Declan. Right. And I'm going to remove student from the class. But there's really nothing. There's nothing complicated about it. A bunch of the stuff is in there. Just click on the buttons, see what it says. Work with on your computer. I like to have this going in the background because on my computer in class, when it's hooked up to the projector, when you give them a point, and you don't have the, if you got the volume turned up, it's really loud. It goes ding, and they know somebody got points, right? If somebody's goofing off and you give them a chance and you want to take a point, when you do it, it goes bonk, and they hear that and they're like, oh man. They usually give you the evil eye, whatever, but then most of the time, you know, the student realized they got caught again, they got chances, and that's how I use it. I would love to take your thoughts on how it was used, any questions you have about maybe something I didn't cover. But otherwise, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let's get this PD over with.